Hey, Dan.
Hi.
We're going to get started in just a moment. Packing still, I guess. Dan, were you able to sign that application for me and send it back?
I did send it this week.
Oh, this week. Okay, awesome.
Sorry.
You're fine. It was the holiday. I completely understand.
You think we're waiting on anybody else?
Margaret would be the only other individual. She hasn't. I remember receiving anything from her, whether or not she can or can't come. But technically, since Dan isn't officially on, you don't have a quorum with her not being here. So I was gonna say, yeah.
Okay, all right, well, either way, we'll call to order at 5:34 here. Great, okay. Introductions, I think we all know each other here. Jason.
Jason, have you met Dan?
No.
So
Hello.
Dan, meet Jason. Meet Dan.
Hi. How are you?
Great, how are you? Welcome aboard.
Okay.
Dan is Anne Marie's replacement from Avery Point.
Oh, outstanding.
Yeah. Great, okay, so after that, so approval of minutes, we will bypass, add another one on for February, hopefully we can get a quorum at that meeting. It doesn't look like there's any public comments.
What's the total membership right now?
4, well, 5
Five,
waiting
five
on
is-
once we get Dan's
Ah, look
application.
at that, we're doing it.
Oh, boom.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm just curious why we didn't have a quorum of 3 of 5.
Because you have to have 4, because we have to have, total is 8. So you have to at least have,
Even if you don't, even if it's not all positions are filled.
that was my understanding. No,
Why would you?
it has to be a majority of the available seats for it to be a quorum, was my understanding.
Not by any quorum definition that I've ever understood. I mean, unless we cease to function, we don't keep the seats filled.
Right. That makes sense, what Jason's saying.
Okay.
Well, either way. We
was gonna say.
now have a quorum, so, all good, all right, so then we'll move back, to the minutes, we have 3 sets of minutes, October, November, and December. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes. Second by Matt, any discussion? No, all right, all in favor? No,
Aye.
opposed,
And I'll abstain. I wasn't at this.
okay, got it, all right,
I watched.
extension from. You good, Matt? Yeah,
Sorry,
okay.
Matt, I didn't mean to mess you up.
Okay. New business, Sierra.
301.
There was no new business.
301, yep. No need for
Oh,
this.
great.
Okay, old business outreach, holidays got the best of me in December, so nothing there, but I did not do an outreach in December, but I'll go over the program, seeing that we have Jason and Margaret here, so this was, what was it, back in October, right?
Mhm.
Is that what it was? Yeah,
Yeah.
in October, Sierra and I had a conversation about, what could the EDC do differently, and one of the things that we talked about was, direct outreach to some of the businesses in the city. So what Sierra did is she put together this list of sort of 25 businesses, mostly located in the TIF area, with the idea that these are sort of our initial list of businesses that each month we would ask each commissioner to reach out to one of those businesses. And then we also put together sort of this document, which we can send around again, with some of the opportunities that businesses have, whether it's through the city of Groton, our own, grant programs, or some other ones like the Connecticut Small Business Boost Fund and Women Business Development Council, some of those that we can just talk about, make sure business owners are aware. And then at the end, there's just a few general questions. So one of the goals here was to utilize the Blue Dot platform, which, hopefully we'll have a little bit of an update there. I did create a form on Blue Dot. So if you're in a business, you can pull up that form, fill it out, very basic, just when you met, when you went to the business, and then you can put in some free-form notes. So just get some contact information, but then, talk to them, what challenges are they facing, that type of thing, anything we could be doing to help. I've mentioned Sierra's name many, many times in these conversations. Oh, contact Sierra. And so, but I think, just getting out there, everyone, I've spoken to 2 business owners now, both of them were very happy about the outreach. And then it's another way that we can, maybe try to build up the commission if they're interested in serving. And then if the final question is whether they'd be interested in one of the business spotlight videos that we talked about doing last year. We're trying to ramp up in the new year. So that's the idea. So, I think as we now are in 23, if we can try to, pick one per month, we ideally can do it at this meeting, but I don't want to pressure anyone to have to pick a business. We can try to, right before we adjourn today, maybe go through the list and each person can pick a business that they want to, commit to reaching out to in the month of January. And I think that'll be, a good way if we can hit all 25 by, mid-spring. I think that'd be great. So that's sort of the idea there. I don't know, Matt, did you have a chance to do any
No.
outreach? Yeah, it was a
Nothing.
busy month. So, great.
Add on to that, I did have handouts for the minor facade improvement grant. If you guys need any of those, please feel free to take them. They are also on the website. Just an update of the grant since we are kind of on it. Mr. Fox has to finalize some permitting questions with building about the awning replacement that was done. And once that is complete, we will move forward with awarding him the grant. That is the only thing that's holding up there. And then I will say that the property owners of Buford's, they own a number of properties there. They have reached out about the minor facade grant from word of mouth of Margaret hearing about it, and then I'm telling them and them reaching out to us. And then also the property owner of CJ's Laundromat is also looking to do some awnings. I noticed that so Vincent Antonelli, who used to be on this commission, is one of the partners for the Bridge Work Dental, and also partners in the property ownership of the 3 parcels that are over there. They are continuing to do work on the distillery, and also there was a vacant space where a Quick Stop used to be. An existing City of Groton business has plans to expand into that location, and so those projects are starting to move forward. So I'm thinking that we'll see more applications in the coming months for some minor facade improvements. So I thought that was
Goals to spend the
excellent.
money. So
Yes. We spend it and have it.
yeah.
And I just notated on here that those 2, yes.
Yeah, I'll mark the other ones. I know I reached out to Friendly Tie. It's done, and then Matt talked to Danielle's. Those are, yeah, that's it for this. Yeah, subcommittees, I think we're still on pause, right?
Yes, so for subcommittees, they are still on pause. As the city is getting together with the resiliency planning, the Thames View, visioning Thames Street and what we want to do for the park and the implementation of the street. And then we're really focused on the Bridge Street Gateway. So the subcommittees are temporarily not meeting right now, but I would like, if you guys could, to participate in the planning and zoning commission meetings. We had a zoning workshop in our December session. Jason was there. I think we had a really good time. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to it from your perspective, but Leslie is going over mixed use development and kind of really getting down to kind of what that looks like in the city and what are some proper regulations to go to support that vision. So I think having us there brings another perspective to the conversation, and also it kind of goes back to us serving as that conduit between, like, we're the in-between between the community and the staff of really making sure the vision is clear and getting those voices heard. So I think since we're not having the workshop, the subcommittee meetings, if you could go to the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings, that would be great. They are the third Tuesday of every month from
17th at 6:30.
Yep.
Oh,
is the next one. Yep.
yeah.
The next one is January 17th at 6:30.
I want to say that, no, right. Sorry, thinking about a different commission.
Did you have anything that you wanted to say about the
Yeah,
P and Z's
the
workshop?
Workshop we did. It was to stimulate discussion about what sort of structures and the businesses and residences that could fill them would be appropriate in essentially the TIF district, but included 5 corners and all the way up to Bridge Street along Thames. And the idea was that we had some examples to look at. Wow, that's a apartments above and a storefront below. Great. When you look at things like that, and from our perspective, we think about the practice to occupying a structure like that. The question would be, does that structure and arrangement work with our current zoning regulations? If not, what would it take, to vector that way? So that's kind of where the discussion goes, and I think that this body could apply some input there that maybe planning and zoning might not think about.
Because it's housing is a big topic, especially when it's being looked at to create a market demand in a community. But then you actually have to have that balance between residential and commercial and what type of commercial. And Leslie talks a lot about form-based code, and there's like a shift in that focus that will come to the city. And so that's not gonna, so instead of the commission saying like whether it's retail, an auto retail store versus a paint store, it's like, it's not so focused on the use, it's just more focused on the facade, the streetscape, how that interacts with the pedestrians and such. So really good conversations. Leslie's going to continue those at least for the next couple of months until P&Z gets a big application. We're utilizing that time with them to really hash a few things out with the zoning regs.
Plus, P&Z is doing kind of like a soup to nuts scrub of the zoning regulations, weeding out dated language, dated terminology, weird specificity, like the type of retail that could occupy these spaces. So, big improvements.
Were there any questions about that? No. So moving on to staff reports. I already gave an update about where the grant programs are at. So I'll continue to work with Mr. Fox in building and zoning to make sure that that permitting situation gets handled, and then we can award him the grant. And then we'll just be doing, as Nishant said, more outreach to get more applicants and applications in. Next upcoming workshop would be with the Planning and Zoning Commission. And then as far as project updates, so for the Community Resiliency Plan, the plan is complete. It gives a thorough assessment of the vulnerabilities that the city should consider when thinking about climate change, sea level rise, and intensified storm events. We are now shifting that discussion with the department heads to really start to develop a resiliency project portfolio. So really identifying all the ongoing and desired projects that departments have, creating a list that we can then supply to the state. There's a number of funding opportunities from the state and federal And so once we get the list, we want to navigate that, give that to them and allow us to have a discussion of like how their funding opportunities can kind of better move forward these projects, and are there any other opportunities. So over the next couple months, there will be a number of internal meetings with staff to kind of really flesh out those projects. And then in March, we are inviting, so it's going to be staff and then any local organization that works with resiliency, so Circa, Nature Conservancy, Project O, anyone in our wheelhouse, kind of get them all together in one room so that they can actually start to brainstorm some of the potential solutions or projects that they can do together. And so we hope to have that go through this process in the early half of the year. So at least by June, we have a draft list of the projects that we can move forward with the state with and presenting. As far as visioning Thames Street, so we have the placemaking action plan. There are a number of smaller projects that the city is going to move forward with implementing in 2023. Like the sidewalk chalk art. We're going to do that again, looking to do it in 2 locations along Thames Street. Banners, just little aesthetic things just to kind of give like a nice little refresh. And then we've gotten the go ahead for Thames View Park to actually move forward with a master planning of the park. So actually getting engineer designs and using the feedback that we got from the community and staff during that initiative with Interscape to actually flesh those designs all the way out. The city did purchase the Costa House. So now that we have the house, we can, we're incorporating plans to help address parking, restrooms, and potential storage areas or lockers for the boat dock and kayak launch at the lower port parcel. And the city definitely wants to still work with the state to look at the stair connection to connect things to Fort Griswold. So we've gotten a thumbs up to move forward with that. And then as far as the Bridge Street Gateway improvements, you'll notice the map is out on the foyer. We have been working with staff to make sure that we get a clear understanding of everything that's going to be incorporated in the plan. We're looking at bike lanes, some curb extensions, redoing crosswalks, and just general signage and improvements around the intersection. So as we finish fleshing those out this month, our goal is to get all of our local and state approvals early in the year, so that in May, get our local approvals, then start our community engagement, and then start the implementation in May. And the community engagement piece is going to be a big piece, and probably where I will pull on you guys to help try to get the word out, or best ways to really connect with the community so that they know, because there are going to be significant traffic pattern changes at the intersection. But the work thus far has been great. All the departments are open to trying tactical urbanism. Everyone's addressing it from their perspective. So like police ended up, they're going to pursue and grant with UConn. Actually, they have a T2, a transportation assistance program, where they're actually going to be able to get some cameras potentially to look at the intersection, so we can kind of watch the before, after, and during the implementation, so we can get a good assessment. Public Works is working on a stormwater management project at the intersection. There's a lot of stormwater runoff, so there's a potential of putting a rain garden there. So we're looking at doing that. And through this process too, the city has actually been able to, I don't know if it's acquire or purchase a small segment of the intersection back from the state. And these plans will help go with helping them understand what we're doing at the intersection and what our desires are as we move forward. So all good stuff, everything's moving forward, and definitely hope to continue to have more information to share with you guys as we move forward with this. And then definitely in the summertime, And as we approach the summertime, having more opportunities for the community to get back engaged with these projects, since they have been on staff desk and trying to get it pushed through in that process. Any questions about the project updates or anything? Just
Great to see, like all these, we've talked about the plans and all that for so long to see. that come to fruition. Yeah.
Hey, it's 4 months away.
I'm well aware. But it's everything that we're doing is really new. So it's a first for the city. So we're also noticing that there are no policies or things in place for this. So we are creating it along the way. So this has been a learning curve, but it's been a fun and educational process for me. As far as TIF, there aren't any real updates. As far as just the program in and out of itself, as far as projects, reports on projects in the city, there isn't a specific project, but I will say there is definitely an interest of development in the city of Groton. We have gotten more developers calling in within the past couple of months, interested in doing larger scale projects or at least mixed use development, which is another thing that is fueling the Planning and Zoning Commission's ongoing conversation. So it is interesting. It's kind of like you've kind of heard about New London, Groton, and everybody else doing development. And it's like, well, what's going on in the city? And now we're starting to see those conversations come to fruition here. So I would definitely keep you guys posted as that moves forward. As far as communications, one thing that we haven't talked about in a while is public art. So I am in the process of working with the Connecticut Office of the Arts and a program called AIR. I don't know if I can't remember exactly. It's like art something. I can't remember what it all stands for, but in essence, they're a group of artists and they help communities start to build capacity for public art in the arts and culture sector. So they are going to come out and do a workshop with us in the summertime to really introduce public art and help us start to really identify what are some programs and projects that we can do and support that the staff may need to actually execute a public art program here in the city of Groton. So I think that's good news and I look forward to following up with you guys on that. And this randomly just made me remember Nishant and I went to Southeastern Connecticut's Thrive event last month or the month before that. And really good conversations. And I actually was able to connect with a lot of individuals. There's I guess they do sculpture trails and they can basically you can lease out these sculptures. I believe his name is David Hayes or Haynes. And they have a number of sculptures that you can rent out and place around the community and they do the install and everything. So it's something that we're willing to try. We're going to explore to see if that is something that we can bring to the city in 2023 as well. But yeah, conferences make good connections in a nutshell. And then the only other thing for communication for our next meeting, I invited Liv Storm. She is our representative from Blue Dot. She's going to come back and have a working session with us on the platform. So I figure that we'll probably have a really short meeting as far as business things. And then from 6 to about I did add another half an hour onto the meeting, but from 6 to 7:30, if we need that much time, Liv will be available for us to do everything. And I really want it to be a working session. So formatting everything in the platform, making sure we are all aware of how to log on, how to get in, how to maneuver things. She is going to be joining in via Zoom. I do think you guys are going to want to be on your computer. So you can come in person, but you may want to have your computer, or if you all do Zoom, I am completely fine with that. Since I know we will all need that computer access. And I think that's all I have for today.
Those developers that are calling, are they all calling about similar areas? Or they're all, do they just have a project in mind or looking where to go? I mean, have they, how?
Everything has been, well, our TIF district is big, so Bridge Street, Thames Street, and Five Corners have been the discussion areas for everyone. And I think it's evenly dispersed of just opportunities. There are existing, the one thing I really like about it too is there are outside developers coming in, but there are local developers that are actually like, there's a new regime here, so it's kind of like another opportunity to like dust off those plans and come back and see, is it something that will work? How can it tweak? And those conversations are really nice to have, because I'm meeting with some people who've been sitting on property for like 20 plus years, waiting to do something, had plans of hotels or this or that, and it just didn't really all pan out. And now they're going and now they're circling back to see what can really be done. So
If you look at some of the available properties, like from the outside, you look at the city ground, what's available, like, so you have the Five Corners stuff that's now listed again for 900,000. The property on the opposite corner has been listed a bunch of times. I think it's still listed for rent or sale. The plaza where the pizza joint is for sale. Rich's Five Corners had been for sale and it's empty. It could be for sale. Garbo. There's some really big enticing stuff.
yeah.
From a developer looking like, wow, these are some, because they're big projects, so it could be. So hopefully somebody does something.
Hopefully
And,
somebody does something.
that can get through the process, I guess, as well. 'Cause
And I think the same time where people are looking at it and reviewing the process and really pinpointing with the community, like the biggest thing with Five Corners that I noticed was that the city really didn't have a shared vision of what that agreed upon density looked like for the city. So it's like 5 stories, 6 stories, 4 stories, like what is appropriate. And so for developers, they kind of want to know that going into it so they can really start to make the numbers make sense for themselves. So, and I think it's better for us as a community if we're kind of a little bit more upfront with, these are expectations, rather than having the mixed reviews come back and then you have people trying to spend money on plans to create something that you're only creating it for a handful of people and then they're going back and forth. So
look at our larger employers, the largest one is they're pumping money into what they're growing and hiring, and I don't think they can hire people fast enough, right?
They can't get it fast enough.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at other areas or you see some of these people that are going to tell, oh, real estate is going to crash and this is going to crash. I don't see it in this area with the amount of growth that we're seeing from that particular large employer. But
Yeah, the only question will be whether it's the city of Groton or elsewhere.
well,
mhm.
I think they're being the center of it.
Oh, no.
They're going to be there even if the majority of people, depends on who they're hiring, right? If they're hiring high income people that want to live somewhere else, or low income people that, I don't know.
Well, I met with a colleague who works out in Cape Cod. His son just got hired at EB in New London. And so he came down to figure out, just get the lay of the land, like, hey, where should we live? And I'm looking at his list of potential apartments and there's one in the city of Groton and one in Groton in general, and most Stonington side of Mystic, New London, Waterford. And I'm like, I wish there was more options to keep him here, keep him in the area. So I wish we had development like that.
Were there a lot of like big complex type places?
Not really, actually. Yeah, a lot of them were like, even in the places in New London, they were sort of just, apartment buildings with, 4 to 8 units in them, houses, that type of thing. The one that he was looking at in the city was by the school, by the marine science.
Marine
School.
science.
Yeah. Like a building there. So, yeah.
Is he aware that there's a shuttle from Groton to London?
I don't think so.
Mhm.
Yeah, all you have to do is get to the Groton property and the shuttle.
That goes between
It's all the.
Oh, interesting. That's good to know.
And they pick up right at this train station, right, in New London? Like they got a
it's all the
couple-
way down to,
Oh, okay.
You have a boat that goes Quicker.
They might be able to use the water taxi in the summertime if it's available.
There you go.
Yeah, why not just fire one of the subways and go across?
Yes.
One thing that does bring up, I don't receive emails from you about the commercial spaces anymore. I don't know if there's a way to update that. And then-
Probably didn't click on it for a while.
I have, it just kicks me out.
Well, after like, I don't know the timing, it's either 30 or 90 days, I'm thinking of.
Oh.
But I'll refresh it.
Thank you. So I am getting an increased interest in commercial space. So entrepreneurs are coming in trying to see what's available. One of their biggest concerns is for some places they can get in contact with the realtor, but there are smaller vacant spaces within the city that are not listed anywhere. So I'm trying to do outreach to those property owners to see, is it available? What's the information? So there is within a newsletter, you'll notice there's an ask for that information. So if you guys are out and about and you know of people that have something that is not listed, if they at least could shoot me an email with that information, that would be great. Also circling back on conversation we were just having, CT Next and the Thames River Innovation Place. So the state is going to be making additional investments in this area into the blue economy. So that's marine science, but that's also biotech, spinoffs of electric boats. So it's nice to see that we have a strong employer, but it's also nice to see that we have a group of individuals and the state dedicated to trying to figure out how to ignite the other industries that are surrounding advanced manufacturing here in the area and using our assets here. So how do you better connect with UConn Avery Point, with just some of the other organizations and what they're doing around here to strengthen the economy and the sectors of each industry here. So
Can you go into more detail about how we are investing?
so the state has funded, they approved CT Next funding for another 5 years in the budget. So CT Next is a state like innovation fund kind of thing. They have under CT Next, there are 4 innovation places. Thames River is one. They also have one in Hartford, Stamford, and New Haven. And so each innovation place has a board of individuals from that area that are looking to see how to strategically invest. We have to kind of create these theses about the potential sectors and the spinoffs and how we can better like install money into those and what type of RFPs or grant, not necessarily a grant, but well, there's a grant. How we can get that money out to, because it's not like directly funded to a business, but how do you actually get it to the sector? Like what are some big, like, is it like co-op? So maritime, there's a naval and maritime consortium that operates in this area. So they provide services to the entire sector. So they're kind of looking for organizations and things that can, it doesn't just benefit one business, but it benefits a whole sector of business, like work that they're doing that's collective. That's making sense. I don't know if
Yeah,
I see you're squinting over there like.
Potential blue sector of business could get tapped into those funds to draw them here.
So a business wouldn't, I have to see how the investment thesis is going to play out, but from my understanding, a business wouldn't be able to directly invest, benefit from the money, but they'll be able to benefit from the services that are provided to benefit these sectors that are here.
Got it. So
Whereas
that
like,
leads to the question, how is Thames River Innovation Place working with us? I mean, what are they doing? Are they helping us improve infrastructure? Are they, you know?
so Thames River Innovation Place in the past had a placemaking focus. That's how we got funding for the Thames River Reconnect, and all the discussions that we've kind of had on vision, like it kind of, Thames River Reconnect was the initial project that led to visioning Thames Street. So they were that initial investment, and then we've kind of added to that and went to other people to fulfill that conversation of what could be built here, like looking at that high level, what are the development opportunities, what's underutilized. So they kind of came at it from that place-based approach. They, in the last couple years, kind of went away from that model, but now they're trying to bring it back, but they haven't fully decided exactly what that place-based element is going to look like. But they are really focused right now on strengthening the sectors that are here. So for us, it would be that blue economy. How do you strengthen those relationships? How do you, I'm not answering your question.
Well, no, it's circular. It's back to where is that state funding going?
Yeah, I think my question is, do you have like an example of something that they've done in the past that
Sure.
we may recognize or like understand, like, okay, that's what they do, like.
So they've invested in the Naval Maritime Consortium, Women's Business Development Center. They created it was like this Blue Link service where they were really targeting the military wives that were at home, that were interested in starting a business. So it was like a program completely catered to their needs. They've also funded RD86, which was a starter kitchen in New London. So basically it's the kitchen, but you can have other people can kind of come and rent space, try different recipes to have spin-offs of other restaurants.
Like a makerspace kitchen.
And they actually, yeah. And then they did the Spark Makerspace. They funded that organization, which is basically they just redid a space. If you do electronic work, woodwork, craft, different things, instead of it being in your home, you can actually register for a membership and bring all your work there. So it's like efforts like that, if that, does that help?
That's a lot.
That's all right.
And this is the women on starting business, that manifests itself in, help getting through the red tape process. That's definitely something we would see.
But then businesses do, and like we say, from a state level, the state has the Connecticut Small Business Fund, which can directly impact a business, which is in a form of a loan, a low interest loan from the state.
Another question. Where are we with all the branding work that is being done?
So we have wrapping up the tagline, finishing a few little edits on that. And then we are working on a brand rollout and actually coming up with our like launch plans for what is next. So right now we've been working internally to make sure all the appropriate department heads, their admin and other staff have access to the information. And then everything is kind of uploaded in a shared file where we can all get to it. And then we're going to be doing rollouts internally and then with the community rollouts. And then Miranda Creative is going to be doing other work to actually like PR work to get it. Like once we get it internally into our community and then externally out to everyone else. So those plans are in the process of being fleshed out at the moment.
Can you share with the women?
Oh, sure.
I was gonna ask, and did they also like change the logo to get rid of that?
The line. Yeah, let me.
Yeah. They had this, I don't know if you saw the logo with that weird, that, well, it was supposed to be what, a light? Is that what they said?
So
Or
the monument has an indentation in it right above that, like there's a door and there's like a little sign.
Right.
And right above that, it kind of bumps out. And I guess that's unique because other monuments don't have it. So they were trying to keep something that highlighted that, but then we were deciding like, that's not something that's that's that much of a detail that we need to
Yeah.
go into. So let's see.
But they didn't, Miranda Creative didn't at any time go back and reshuffle or reissue or completely revamp the choices remained the same throughout the discussion.
History in the making waves, and
Just to grow.
thank
Right,
you,
right.
a place to grow. Slowing that down, we got this. And yeah, so is the history in the making one? So they have updated it so it doesn't include, this is the line that we were talking about. If you
Okay.
can see it, so that would be taken away. And basically this is kind of the gist of the logo. And then they're just going to be playing around with other elements of. Actually, that's easier. Are you?
It's gonna have to.
There we go.
Camera.
Yeah, right. Looking up my nose here.
Look away, you'll be seasick.
Get rid of the line. I thought they were trying to do something with like the sun reflection.
Yeah, no,
Looks a little.
it looks weird.
Yeah.
It is nice. They're gonna put it out, yeah, different.
Oh, I see. The little green line that suggests that they're trying to make a letter or something. Yeah. Gotcha, gotcha.
And so they're still gonna play with it like the G, there's also a potential like a shadow of the C, so there's like a GC. Also looking at different spins on like history in the making and how that relates back to the business community. They will be put together. So the banners that are on Bridge Street, they will be doing an iteration, they'll be designing new ones that we will be replacing on those that kind of introduce this brand to the community. What else are we working on?
The colors are gonna be that dark blue and the green and.
Yeah, so it's the colors are very close to our brand standard colors. Maybe a little bit sharper, but we are going to make sure we work out those pad tone colors that we get the exact ones that we want to use and that are visibly good. Like green is a weird color because it shows up on different things. There's like an ADA compliance with certain colors that we've learned about. So how it shows up like digital versus like other things.
If somebody's doing any filming, it's gonna have a weird effect.
Mhm.
Video.
So they'll go through all those updates. And then yeah, the biggest thing has been planning for the brand launch and then coordinating internally with the newsletter. I think the content is coming along well. We're getting more content, more community content as well to highlight within the newsletter. So everything's coming together and everybody's kind of getting their ducks in a row to figure out who's responsible for what and who's really going to take it on long term so that I mean, Miranda Creative is a great consultant to be with, but I don't have that ticket item on the city for a long period of time. And we can do some stuff in-house, so.
Newsletter's been great. It's funny, we were like the only people on the street that ever put our trash out on a different day when there was a holiday. Everyone else just had it out. And I asked my neighbor because they did it right. I'm like, oh, did you get a notice? She's like, oh no, I'm on the newsletter now. And so I'm like, oh my God.
I know it's good. I wish I wish New London had a newsletter because I still always be putting out like I be guessing like you didn't come today, come tomorrow, kind of thing. But it's all good. Are there any other questions about projects work we have going on.
I'll just pass this around. I put just my initials in January next to the business. I'm gonna try to reach out to them. There's one that.
And Dan, I can screen share now. I was showing them this image of the city's brand that they recently selected that we've been working on with Miranda Creative.
Thank you. We looked at those a little bit last month, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you have Dan's email in case you need to. I know you have.
Was it on the email that you sent?
Mhm.
Yeah. I'll get it.
Oh, and I have gotten some individuals calling interested of being a part of the Economic Development Commission.
Great.
So I appreciate any and all outreach that you guys are
I
doing.
have somebody that-
Okay, awesome.
I've looked at the bylaws. I don't have a copy of the bylaws in my phone. I thought I did, but unless there's something specific in the bylaws regarding a quorum, Robert's rules basically just says, majority of the members. So unless our bylaws say that a quorum, it specifies a quorum. Unless it says a quorum is, half of the possible total members, then we can just follow Robert's rules.
Can I cross off here that are in the business anymore?
Which one are you crossing off?
Mystic River. Function, she's now over in Mystic,
Okay,
Richard Service Center, he now owns a bowl now.
okay.
No.
Yeah, Matt, you did just tell us that it was empty. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I,
Those cars there for service are mine.
no, you need to move them up so people don't cut through there. They
I've
cut
had,
through there all the
I've
time.
had that before, and then the car got hit, someone doing that.
Really?
Yeah,
Really cuts through that part of it?
yeah, like, because they can't turn right on red, so they, at
Sure.
night they turn,
Really?
they fly right through there. Yeah.
Have they looked at the stuff in that parking lot? I wouldn't take my tires across that parking lot if I didn't
I
have.
know, tell me about
Oh, yeah.
For purposes of determining whether the commission may conduct business, a majority of seating commission members shall be shall constitute a quorum, but in no event shall a quorum consist of less than 4 members. And there's a little edit there.
Weirdly specific.
Sounds like the city of Groton.
What if you don't have 4 standing members?
it. You gotta get them.
Yeah. I guess so.
I was gonna say, I'm noticing there is a typo in here for that section, but because it says less than 4 and then it has in parentheses 5 members. So you can go and edit that, but yeah,
Can you send me those?
sure.
Maybe we add bylaw updates to an upcoming agenda.
So
Maybe
the
not.
state of North Carolina actually had to put a statute in to amend the definition of a quorum to
Really,
not include vacancies,
really.
but that's at the state level.
Yeah,
Mm.
Because they just didn't do it for vacancies.
Yeah, some town was, struggling with what the definition of a quorum was around some decision.
Yeah, I mean, we're hamstrung by our own bylaws in this case.
Right.
Rather than just default to kind of the standard.
Mhm. So I will, I'll send the bylaws out to everyone, and if you want to, we can,
maybe March.
I was gonna say, put them on the March
Yeah,
agenda.
let's do that.
Okay.
What's the meeting that we usually cancel? Is it July or?
It is July that we usually cancel. and I can pull up.
My, expecting our first kid. July 1st. I'm trying to point it out. Yeah.
Very good. of you to get the information first.
Yeah, right. Gonna have to take this, you keep pushing. Taking me. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so our July meeting is scheduled for July 5th, so it's the day after Independence Day. There's usually traveling, so we traditionally canceled it, but if you guys are agreeing to cancel it, that's fine.
Well, this is. Yeah. Meeting scheduled for the year. Agree on it.
We've already done that.
Who's our- right there?
The city clerk already did that.
Yeah, same argument we've had to this back.
Okay, so, well, we.
I was gonna say, you guys did vote on it.
We voted to accept what the city clerk fed us is my point.
If you guys want to move the meeting from a Wednesday, from the first Wednesday of every month, you guys, I guess we have a right to bring that up, but that has not been something that was on the chopping block. So I mean, I don't know if there's something that are you guys wanting to change it or in the future, or?
The commission would have to have an appetite to change something.
The only question I have is, I remember there was potentially an issue with having this room. Did that get sorted out?
Yes, so he, basically, if we are already scheduled for it, we would have first grabs on it and we would just coordinate if it needs to be, if other rooms need to be shared, because we are the only commission who's, regardless of a holiday, we don't bump our meeting back. So like, if the holiday falls on a Monday, P and Z, wetlands, everyone moves their meetings back. We're the only commission that doesn't do that. So sometimes that makes us bump with someone, but they'll either use C10 and then we just have to figure out the smart board stuff. And as far as the meeting, so the city clerk is the individual that initiates it for all of the commissions in the city of Groton. So if you have when it comes up, we can discuss it then. We did present the dates to everyone and we voted on it at a meeting. But if we want to discuss it further.
Accept the dates that are described. That's the tail light theory. The commission should decide on their own schedule. In fact, Connecticut general statutes require each commission to hammer out the year's meeting schedule in the first meeting in January for the year. You gotta do it by the first.
I don't think those are the same statutes, that he has to have his stuff into them earlier than the first of the year. So if there's an issue with this,
Or we did that in December's meeting. So it had to be done before the end of the year.
mhm,
By
So,
some local requirement.
well, I mean, it's Groton, so.
No, I
you know, it's a
understand.
different city, town.
It's more restrictive than the Connecticut.
so maybe in early and later in the year, but before the end of the year, if the commission has a desire of not, because he's only going by what we're already doing. If we do not want it to be on the first Wednesday, then we should bring it up. Then he's not like saying, okay, this is a new schedule and I'm going to redo it. He's just kind of continuing the process. And if there are any edits, then we bring the edits to the city clerk that we want to make.
I can make anything work. I've planned for Wednesdays to work, so we can change it. Just need to plan for that.
No.
Now, this
not-
is the,
Right now, until March, I have basketball on Monday, Thursday, Friday. Actually, we have a practice tonight. Because we missed a bunch because of the vacation.
Were there anything else that we wanted to discuss?
Motion to adjourn.
I will second that. All right, 6:28. Thank you all.
They are in the same thing.
I don't know what, the responsibility of
Just more
my issues.
the principle of
You're
it.
being told when you had to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, the commission should be told when the meetings are, the commission's told the clerk when the meetings are. And I think that's probably how it started, and then we're just seeing the wraparound there.
But if a commission has been meeting consistently on the same day for years, wouldn't the clerk be kind of right in making an assumption that they'll, unless they've heard something else, that they're gonna continue on that day?
I did. The one place that we pushed back, because we met either last meeting or 2 meetings ago, there was, what was the commission? The historic
I believe it was the Wetlands Commission.
Wetlands Commission was trying to
conserva-
bump
yeah.
us out of here for one meeting where there was a holiday.
Mhm.
And we're like, no, we have this through. So
Because
that
there was
was
a
the one
question
place
of
we-
whether or not it's like we are an advisory committee. It's kind of like you can't just bump us out because we're an advisory committee.
No.
But we could share the resources. We don't have a problem with that, but we didn't just want to get kicked out of our space.
Right.
They could always
That
meet
makes
at 7.
Hmm?
They could always meet at 7.
But we have other rooms. I think the biggest thing comes of whether or not we need whether or not the commission needs a smart board. But I'll double check because it might be the July, I want to say it was the July date. That was the issue or something. So if it was, I'll double check with him. And if it was July, then that's great. And if not, then I'll let you guys know what that meeting date is that we have to share.
That they, yeah.
Yeah.
The board that they.
They need to go outside.
Yeah. Be great outside.
We're gonna walk in here for 4 o'clock. and lock the door.
Get out there.
Yeah, right. Field trip.
Great garden tomorrow.
I reactivated that email. It
Thank
was
you.
60 days.
It was 60 days.
So, and it could just be because there's a lack of activity too. But just ignore the first one because it's gonna have, the first one shows like everything that's expired, everything that's done in the last like year. So like you're gonna look and say, oh, that's new, but it's not. It's just.
And so I have to, so even if I look at it, but it's not anything, I need to just click on something to keep
I
it.
think as long as you open the email.
I open them all the time, or when I had them, I opened them. But if I saw that they were expired, I was just like,
So-
okay, well, it's not.
You see that, well, this
Thank you,
is,
Dan. We're adjourned. You have a lovely evening.
so you would see like a picture, new list of your stuff, right?
Mhm.
So I guess if you just have to click on one of them every 60 days or something.
Okay, all
But
right.
you
to
should be
keep it
clicking on
fresh.
it to find out the full information of what it is.
I do, well, when I pull it up, it gives me pictures.
Yeah, I know.
And so I scroll through and if it says expired, then I'm like, well, it hasn't been updated in a while. So I just figure I'll just wait for the next one.
Yeah, see, this is the
Blue with our new logo, the shine needs to be the blue of that jacket. That is.
Thank you, Sierra.
You're welcome, thank you.
Yeah,
So if it says closed or expired, that means it's
so like
no
this,
good, though, right?
this one just shows, okay, this one closed for 262.5. And the picture's gone probably because I'm on the city run. But as long as you like go in and open this at least every now and then.
So actually click in and
Yeah,
go
like, and
into
this
it,
gives you-
even if it says closed or expired.
Yes, like you, like closing expired, not that big of a deal, because you can say, hey, that property closed, great, I wonder who bought it, and you can figure that out or ask me.
Okay,
But like the new listings, you may want to look at them just because it may have information in there that you may find helpful, for someone calling,
okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to